she hid in the shadows, afraid of her own body. The metal walls of the slave ship were cold. The air smelled like oil, sweat, and fear. Kira sat curled up behind a crate in the darkest corner she could find. Her knees were pulled to her chest. Her tail was wrapped around her legs. Her silver-blue skin had lost its glow from hunger and sadness. She didn't cry anymore. There were no more tears left in her. She hadn't spoken to anyone in days. Whenever footsteps came near, she held her breath. The guards were brutal. They liked to hit for no reason. If they saw her, they might drag her out again, put her on display like they had before. The last auction had been the worst. The crowd had laughed when her turn came. One trader had said, "She's not even breeding material. Look at her, so weak. Who would want this one?" They had all laughed. Even her own kind didn't want her. Kira used to believe she was broken. She had been told this her whole life. Her body was too slim, her skin too dull, her bloodline was useless. Her people had tested her when she was young. The results had sealed her fate, infertile. No male would choose her. No family would accept her. So she was thrown out, sold, passed from one cruel master to the next. Now she was on this ship again, being taken to another planet, to be auctioned like an object. Suddenly the ship jerked. A loud buzz filled the air. The lights flickered. Then, a voice echoed over the speakers. "Arrival at Station Vega 9. All goods to be prepared for market." Kira's body froze. No, not again. The heavy door of the storage bay opened. Bright light rushed in. Guards shouted orders and began pulling slaves out one by one. A clawed hand reached for her. She hissed in fear, but it was no use. They dragged her out and pushed her into the line. She kept her eyes down. Her hands trembled. The market was crowded. Creatures from many species moved around. Some bought food. Others argued over prices. And in the center was the auction stage. A metal platform surrounded by buyers with credit sticks in their hands and hunger in their eyes. One by one, the slaves were pushed onto the stage. Some were sold in seconds. Others took minutes. Then it was Kira's turn. She stood there in silence as the announcer read her name. Lot 92, female, Zilari race, no known skills, low health, suspected infertile. A cruel laugh came from the crowd. Pass, no use. She's too thin. Throw her out with the trash. Kira's head dropped. Her heart felt heavy. She wanted to disappear. Any buyers? Going once, going twice. Then a voice came. I'll take her. The crowd turned. Standing at the back was a human. Tall, quiet, with dark clothes and a sharp look in his eyes. He stepped forward slowly. Name? Asked the seller. Cole. The seller looked confused. You want her? Yes. The seller shrugged. Fine. Lowest bid. Take her. Cole walked up the steps. He didn't smile. He didn't mock her. He simply held out a hand. Kira looked up at him, unsure. Was this another game? Another cruel trick? She didn't move, so he didn't wait. Instead, he took off his coat and gently placed it around her shoulders. Then he turned and walked away. She followed slowly, still in shock. No one had ever done that before. Back on his ship, Cole gave her food, water, and a blanket. Rest, he said. You're safe now. Kira sat in the corner, staring at him. She didn't believe him. She had heard those words before, but safety was always a lie. She held the blanket tightly. It was soft, warm, too kind. Why would a human buy someone like her? Why didn't he touch her, or chain her, or ask anything from her? Kira didn't sleep that night. Her mind was full of fear and something strange. Hope. She waited for the beating, but he gave her a blanket. The silence in the small cabin was heavy, like a thick fog. Kira sat in the farthest corner of Cole's ship, knees to her chest, staring at the floor. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Her mind was full of fear. Every second that passed without a blow only made her more nervous. She had been here before. Not this ship, not this man, but this moment. The silence, the waiting, The calm before pain, the last master she had, smiled before he struck her. So she waited for the moment Cole would show his true face. She expected him to shout, to throw something, to chain her. But instead, he was making soup. Real soup. The kind that smelled like spices and warmth. Kira didn't understand. Why would a human cook for a slave? He placed 2 bowls on the small metal table. Then he turned to her. "You must be hungry," he said gently. Kira didn't answer. Her hands tightened around the edge of the blanket he'd given her. It was still wrapped around her shoulders. It smelled like him. Clean, calm, warm. "Come eat," he said. She shook her head slowly, eyes still on the floor. Cole sighed and sat down to eat. He didn't force her. He didn't raise his voice. He simply left the second bowl untouched. It stayed warm, waiting for her. Later that night, Kira's stomach growled so loudly that even she couldn't ignore it anymore. She crawled slowly to the table, like a scared animal. She touched the spoon. It was warm. She glanced at Cole, who was leaning back. In his seat with his eyes closed, he didn't stop her. She took one bite, then another and another. Tears began to fall, but not from pain, from confusion. No one had ever fed her before. Just to be kind. The next day, Cole gave her a simple shirt and trousers. Clean. Not slave rags. "You'll be more comfortable in these," he said, placing them near her sleeping pad. Kira didn't touch them at first. She thought there was a trick. Clothes meant something, a new role, a new punishment. But when she finally tried them, they fit perfectly. "Thank you," she whispered, her first words to him. Cole just nodded. "You're welcome." Days passed. She watched him closely, always waiting for the moment he would snap. But he never did. When she dropped a cup, he helped her pick it up. When she coughed, he handed her water. When she woke from nightmares, sweating and crying, he never came too close, but left the light on so she wouldn't feel alone in the dark. One morning, she asked, "Why did you buy me?" Cole looked at her. "Because I saw someone who didn't deserve to be treated like trash." "No one wanted me," she said quietly. "They said I was broken." He frowned. "They were wrong." She looked away, afraid to cry again. Then he added, "You're strong, Kira. Stronger than anyone in that market." Her heart jumped. No one had ever said that before. Not once. Later that night, she stared at her reflection in the metal panel of the wall. Her face looked softer, less afraid. She touched her own cheek. For the first time, she didn't feel like a monster, she whispered. Strong. The next day, she helped clean the ship. It was her choice. No order was given. She wanted to. She wanted to prove she wasn't just a thing someone threw away, but just when things felt safe. An alert beeped on the ship's screen. Kira peeked from the hallway and saw Cole's face darken. He pressed a few buttons. A hologram popped up, a bounty notice. A familiar voice spoke through the comms. "Return the Zellari female immediately. She was stolen. The seller demands justice." It was him, the slave trader. Kira's blood went cold. She took a step back, heart racing. Were they coming for her? Would Cole hand her over? She turned to run, but he was already behind her. "No one's taking you," he said firmly. "I promise." She looked up at him, terrified. "You don't understand," she said. "They always come. No one fights them." "I will." Kira didn't believe it, not yet. But for the first time, she wanted to believe. He took her to a human doctor, and her tests shocked everyone. The stars outside the ship's window moved slowly. It was quiet in the small space cruiser, but inside Kira's mind, there was a storm. Cole was taking her somewhere. She didn't know where, and she didn't know why. All she knew was that a bounty had been placed on her, and Cole didn't hand her over. Instead, he changed their flight path and told her to pack anything she needed. Now she sat in the passenger seat, gripping the seatbelt tightly. "Where are we going?" she asked in a soft voice. "Somewhere safe," Cole replied. a place, with answers. That made her more nervous. Kira had never been taken to a safe place before. Safe was usually a lie, but Cole wasn't like the others. Still, she couldn't stop the shaking in her hands. After 2 days of quiet space travel, the ship landed on a hidden asteroid base, marked only as Station Helix. It was small, old, and hidden behind thick radiation clouds. No traders, no bounty hunters. Only humans. Cole led Kira through the narrow halls. She noticed how the other humans nodded at him with respect. Was he someone important? He didn't act like it. Finally, they stopped at a lab door. "This is Dr. Lin," Cole said. "She's a gene specialist. You don't have to do this, but I think it might help." Kira looked at the human woman in a white coat. She had kind eyes, not like the cruel ones Kira remembered. "What kind of help?" Kira asked. "You think you're broken," Cole said. "I don't." Her chest tightened. "You don't know me," she whispered. "I know enough," he replied. After a long pause, Kira nodded. "I'll do it." The tests took hours. Blood samples, tissue scans, deep genetic readings. Kira lay quietly on the table while machines buzzed around her. Every beep made her flinch. She expected pain, screaming, chains, but it never came. Dr. Lin smiled at her often. She spoke gently. She explained every step. It confused Kira. She had never been treated like a person in a lab before. When the tests were over, Dr. Lin turned to Cole, looking pale. "You'd better see this," she said. Cole leaned over the screen. His eyes slowly widened. "What is it?" Kira asked, sitting up. Lin turned the screen toward her. "You were never infertile," she said. Kira blinked. "What?" "Your people misread your genes. They thought your DNA was defective. But it's not. It's just different. Very different. In fact, your genetic structure is extremely adaptive." Kira didn't understand. Dr. Lin continued, "You can form hybrid offspring with species your people can't. Your body isn't weak. It's evolved." Kira's world spun. I was thrown out because they said I was useless, that I couldn't continue the bloodline." Lin nodded sadly. "That was a lie." Cole spoke softly. They feared what they didn't understand. Tears filled Kira's eyes. She had believed for so long that she was worthless, that she had no future, no place, no purpose. Now, a human was telling her. She was rare, valuable, important. That night, Kira sat outside the base's dome looking at the stars. Cole walked up beside her. "Want to talk about it?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "I spent my whole life hiding," she whispered. "Hiding my face, my body, my pain. And now, I find out, I'm not broken, I'm something else." "Something amazing," Cole said. Kira looked at him. His eyes were honest. "But why do you care?" she asked. "Why help me?" He smiled gently. "Because someone should have helped you a long time ago." She didn't speak after that, but she leaned her head against his shoulder. He didn't move, and for the first time in her life, she didn't feel ashamed of her body. She felt proud. They tried to take her back, but the human fought them off. Kira woke up to the sound of alarms. Red lights flashed through the hallway of the station. She sat up fast, heart racing. The soft blanket Cole had given her slid off her shoulders. Something was wrong. She rushed to the door. Voices echoed through the base, angry, loud, urgent. "Unauthorized ship has docked." "Get Cole, now!" Her stomach turned cold. She ran. She didn't know why, just that her body remembered fear, the kind that had no name. When she reached the control room, Cole was already there. His jaw was tight, his eyes sharp. He stood beside Dr. Lin, watching the security feed. A large black ship had docked outside. She recognized the symbol on its side, a red spiral inside a claw. Her old master's mark. Her legs gave out. "It's them," she whispered. "They found me." Cole turned toward her, already moving. Go back to the med bay, lock the door. No, she said, standing quickly. You don't understand, you can't fight them. They don't stop. I'm not letting them take you, he said firmly. Cole, please. But he was already heading toward the docking bay. 4 armed bounty hunters entered the base. They didn't ask questions. They didn't even look around. They just said, We're here for the Zalari female. She belongs to Lord Murthak. Cole stepped in front of them. She belongs to no one, he said coldly. The leader, a tall reptilian brute, laughed. You paid a joke price for her. She's worth millions now. Step aside, human. But Cole didn't move. I bought her freedom. You'll have to kill me first. Gladly. The first hunter moved fast, blaster raised. But Cole was faster. He ducked, rolled, and fired. 1 shot clean. The bounty hunter dropped. The others roared and attacked. Kira watched from a hallway screen, frozen in place. She wanted to scream. To help, to hide. But she couldn't move. Cole fought like a soldier, but it wasn't easy. The attackers were strong, armed, and trained. One of them threw him against the wall. He groaned, blood on his lip. Another came charging with a shock blade. Kira ran. She didn't know what she would do. All she knew was Cole was bleeding because of her. She grabbed a broken pipe from the maintenance room and sprinted toward the fight. When she reached the bay, Cole was on the ground. 2 hunters stood over him. Without thinking, she screamed and slammed the pipe into the nearest one's head. The man fell back, surprised. Kira, no! Cole shouted, but she didn't stop. Her body, once called weak, moved like fire. She dodged, struck, defended. When another tried to grab her, she bit down hard on his arm, tasting blood. By the time the station guards arrived, 2 hunters were unconscious. One was crawling, and the last was backing away with hands raised. Cole stood slowly, breathing hard. You fought, he said, staring at her. She didn't know what to say. He stepped closer, touched her arm. Are you hurt? She shook her head, but her eyes were full of tears. I couldn't let them take you, she whispered. He smiled through the pain. Then we're even. Later, as the guards dragged the hunters away, Kira sat beside Cole in the medical room. She cleaned the cut on his forehead with shaking hands. I'm sorry, she said. They came because of me. I knew they might, he replied, but I don't regret saving you. She looked into his eyes. Why? She asked. Why? Do you care so much? He didn't answer right away, then he said, Because you remind me what it means to fight for someone. Her hand stopped moving. Fight for me? Yes. No one had ever said that to her. Not her people. Not her masters. Not anyone. But this human did, and she believed him. She asked the question that terrified her most. Am I worth loving? The night was quiet. Kira sat near the campfire, her arms wrapped around her knees. They were hiding in a small forest valley on a peaceful moon called Laria 3. After the attack, Cole had decided they couldn't stay on the station. Too dangerous. Too exposed. So now they were here, safe, but alone. Cole was checking the scanner. No ships nearby. No threats. Still, he kept his weapon close. Kira watched the flames dance. The soft crackle of burning wood filled the silence between them. She hadn't spoken for hours. Her mind was heavy. Her chest, tight. She looked down at her hands, small, calloused, scarred, not beautiful, not chosen, not loved. Finally, she broke the silence. Cole? He looked up. Yeah? She hesitated. Her voice came out small, almost afraid. Do you think I'm worth anything? He frowned. Of course you are. No, I mean, she swallowed hard. Do you think someone like me could ever be loved? He froze. Kira's eyes shimmered. Be honest, I'm not like the others. My people hated me. I'm not soft. I'm not beautiful. I'm not useful. I was born wrong. No, Kira, he said softly. You were born rare. You don't understand, she whispered. When I was a child, I saw a boy cry because he was told to marry me. He said I was wrong-colored. My own mother told me I'd never find a mate. Cole walked over slowly and sat beside her. I understand more than you think, he said. I've seen how humans treat those who are different too. Kira didn't look up. Then tell me the truth, Cole. What truth? She turned her face toward him. Am I worth loving? The question hung in the air. It was more than words. It was years of silence, of pain, of shame. It was the deepest wound she had, and she had just opened it. Cole didn't rush his answer. He looked at her, really, looked at her strong jawline, her fierce eyes, her brave heart, and he said, "Yes, you are." Kira's breath caught. "I don't say things I don't mean," he continued. "You've been through hell and still care about others. You risked your life for me. You smile even when you're afraid. You make me want to be better." Her heart beat loudly in her chest. He smiled just a little. "You're more than worth loving, Kira. You're unforgettable." She blinked quickly, trying to stop the tears. But they fell anyway, not because she was sad, but because for the first time the one thing she wanted most had been given to her freely. That night she didn't sleep alone. She rested near him, both of them under the stars, his hand gently over hers. He didn't try to kiss her. He didn't ask for anything. He just stayed close. Safe. Warm. Real. The next morning, something inside her had changed. She looked at her reflection in the ship's panel again, but this time, she didn't hate what she saw. She saw strength. She saw survival. She saw someone who deserved love. Suddenly, the scanner beeped. Cole moved fast. Unmarked ship, entering orbit. Kira stood beside him. Calm. "We run?" she asked. He looked at her. "No." She nodded. "Then we fight." They were no longer master and slave, no longer rescuer and rescued. They were partners now. They returned to her planet and her people. Looked at her differently, the ship's engines hummed quietly. Kira stood by the window, staring out at the planet below. It had been years since she'd seen it. Solaria, her home world, the planet that cast her out, the planet that called her defective, the planet that never wanted her back. But now, she was going back. Cole stood beside her, watching her face carefully. "You sure about this?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Finally, she said, "I need to see it. I need them to see me." Her voice was steady, not afraid. They landed, near one of the outer colonies just beyond the capital city. The moment Kira stepped onto the ground, the air felt different, heavier. The trees were tall and blue, and the buildings shimmered with crystal walls. But she felt no warmth. "Oh, welcome." Guards noticed the ship immediately. "Identify yourselves." One barked, weapons raised. Kira stepped forward. "My name is Kira of House 4X. I was cast out 15 years ago." The guards exchanged glances. "That name was removed from the records," one said coldly. "You have no place here." "I do now," she said, voice calm. "I've come to speak to the High Council." Cole stepped beside her. "She's not alone." The guards hesitated. This was not the same weak girl they remembered. This was someone different, someone strong. They let her pass. Inside the council hall, old alien nobles in tall robes whispered when Kira entered. Some gasped, some sneered. She was supposed to be dead. She dares return? Still infertile, no doubt. Kira stood in the center and raised her voice. "I demand the right of blood truth." A silence fell over the chamber. That was a law from ancient times, one that allowed even the lowest outcast to present proof of bloodline worth. The elders couldn't refuse. One finally said, "Speak then. Let us hear your lies." Dr. Lin's report played on a large screen. DNA scans. Hybrid potential. Rare markers. Evidence that Kira was not broken. She was evolved. Her biology could lead to the strongest line of offspring Zelaria had ever seen. The Council was stunned. Some stood, others shouted in protest. This is human trickery. This cannot be true. Cole stepped forward. I was there when the results were found, he said. You threw away someone who could have changed your future. The head elder, a woman with silver horns, narrowed her eyes at Kira. Why? Return? Why not stay hidden? Kira took a breath. I came to show you I'm not ashamed anymore. She looked around the hall. You called me useless. You erased my name. But I survived. I learned the truth. And I'm here to say, I forgive you. That last word echoed like thunder. The council was silent. No one expected that. As Kira turned to leave, some in the crowd lowered their eyes. Others looked at her with something new in their expressions. Not hate, not disgust, but respect. Outside the hall, young girls stared at Kira as she passed. One whispered, She came back. Another said, Is it true? She's the future mother? Kira heard them. She smiled a little. Cole walked beside her. Well, he asked. Was it worth it? She nodded. Yes. I needed to see them. I needed to see myself. That night they stayed in a quiet cabin outside the city. Kira looked at the stars from the porch. I never thought I'd come back, she said. But you didn't. Just come back, Cole said. You changed everything. She reached for his hand, and for the first time in her life, she didn't feel like she was returning to her past. She felt like she was walking into her future. She faced the ones who rejected her and claimed her place as a new beginning. The grand temple of Zelaria stood tall in the center of the capital, its walls glowing with ancient energy and wisdom. Only the most honored were ever invited to stand at its heart. Today, Kira stood there, the same Kira who had once been called Defective, the same Kira who had once slept in dirt, chained, cold, forgotten. Now she stood straight, dressed in ceremonial robes stitched in silver. Her eyes burned with calm fire. Her voice was ready. Beside her stood Cole, silent, steady, proud. The High Council watched her closely. So did hundreds of citizens. Word had spread. The castaway girl had returned. The girl thought to be broken was now a symbol of hope and change. The elder matron spoke first. You were banished by law. Why do you demand voice again? Kira stepped forward. Because the law was based on lies. She lifted her hand and activated the floating hologram. Her genetic profile lit up in midair. Not defective, not weak, unique, evolved, fertile. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Kira continued. You feared what you didn't understand, and instead of helping me, you threw me away. Her words hit hard. But I didn't come back for revenge, she said. I came back because others like me still suffer. Girls and boys who are different, who are told they are nothing. She looked at the faces of those who had once mocked her. I came back to be their voice. One councilman stood. What do you want from us? Kira didn't hesitate. A change in the law. Testing methods must be updated. Children must not be discarded based on fear. I also ask for my name to be restored, and the right to form a new branch of our people, one that accepts those like me. The room was silent. Then, surprisingly, someone clapped. A younger noble. Then another. It spread, until half the chamber stood in applause. The elder matron looked at Kira, her face unreadable. Your voice is heard, she said finally. Your request will be granted. Your name shall be returned to the registry. Kira Vorex Talari. Kira breathed in sharply. The name she had cried over as a child was hers again. Later, outside the temple, a crowd gathered around her. Young Zeleri girls reached out to touch her hand. Thank you, one said. You give us hope, another whispered. Kira smiled, but her heart was full. She had fought the pain. She had broken the old image of herself. She wasn't the rejected one anymore. She was a leader. That evening, Cole and Kira stood at the edge of a crystal lake. The sky was violet, the stars bright. "I never thought I'd live to see this," she said. "I did," Cole replied. She looked at him, eyes shining. "You saw something in me when I couldn't see it myself." "I saw someone worth everything," he said. She stepped closer. "Do you still think I'm worth loving?" He didn't answer with words. He just took her hand, held it tight, and didn't let go. Kira's story became a symbol across systems, a tale told to children of every race, not just about strength, but about becoming more than what others call you, about rising from nothing and becoming everything.